All right, so what I want to show you guys is mixing your live tracks in a way that makes it sound. You recorded everything off your board, and that's what we have here. Let me show you that first. Let's start from the beginning. So this is our show. I'll go over these tracks with you. So we've got my vocal processor left and right, and I've got those hard panned left and right. Bass player's Vox, that's Jamie's Vox, and Scott's Vox on the bass. And I think of this song, so Jamie does a few things in this song, so not a whole lot going on there. We've got the guitar left and right, that's off my Line 6 pod, whatever the latest thing is, HD 500 thing, X. Same thing on the bass, that's coming off his 500X with the bass mod pack. And now we have the drums, which is the Roland TD50. You got the kick, snare, and we're taking these all individual. The hi-hat, toms left and right, so that's a mix of all the toms. And then the drum mix, left and right for the whole thing. So I've got a song here. It's Eve 6. It's coming out of that song.
I would swallow my pride, I would choke on the rhymes, but the lack thereof will leave me empty inside. Swallow my doubt, turn it inside out, find nothing but wanna put my tender heart in a blender.
And just listen to this until it comes in.
When I'm through with you.
Okay, so that's what you expect a live, multi-track recording from your live show to sound like. It's not going through any of your PA. It's not hitting those buses, whatever reverbs you've got going on. None of that is happening. So you have to kind of recreate that for your mix if you're going to put this to a video like what we've been doing, or a demo track or whatever. You have to make it more lively. Even though it's recorded live, you got to make it sound live. So let me show you a couple tricks here. First thing I do is I'm going to start over here. This is our master bus, and what I want to put on is most importantly, and you could use whatever compressor you want, but this is basically copying the Focusrite Red 3. Real low ratio, 1.5. Threshold, pretty extreme, so it's grabbing it. So let's just pop that on. This is the one thing. So here's our mix. We'll pop that on. Already better. Okay? So that's that guy. The next thing we'll pop on is the Slate virtual tape machine. I think this gives it a little more grit, a little more, analog vibe. Off. Big difference right there. And this is where I start, is on the master bus. Then I'll pop in this guy, which is Ozone's sort of mastering thing. So I'm kind of doing the mastering at the same time. This has an imager that I'm using and a exciter, just a tiny bit on the top end. You see these are engaged, but they're not doing anything. The amount is 0. Just a little bit here. So this comes in at 3.4K, just gives it a little grit. You got to be really careful with excite. You can ruin your mix fast. Same with imaging. I want a lot of that width that we're not hearing on the top, and then just a little in that mid band, and then we're actually taking width out of the low end because you want to sum that mono. So let's just hear what that sounds like. So that's giving it a lot of air and space, like what you would want. And that's probably too extreme if you were doing a studio mix. But again, we're trying to make it live. This guy is the bus mixer. This is like off an SSL console. And all we do is hit that real lightly. A little bit of glue. Not a whole lot going on, just a little flavor. And then finally, we're going to hit the Slate Master, and this is where you bring your levels up. Usually you pop this on last. All that's doing is making it max volume. Okay, so I mean, getting up to pro level. So that's all we did. That's all we have on here. You'll notice my effects that I've got in here are muted. Everything else is muted. The sends are there, but they're not going anywhere. So that's it. That's all we've done, and we're there.
Off the wall. Hear words and glitz of phrases. Things stick like ginger ale.
So a lot of that happening is bringing you most of the way there. The reason you got to do this for your live recording is because this kind of thing is going on, hopefully you have this in your mixer or something like it. That's all going on in your main out. And then that volume that you're hearing in the show is all making up for that. So you don't need a lot of that. All right, so let's start in here with the drums. Let's see what I got here on the drum mix. So that's the best way to do this is instead of soloing, we'll just mute out these guys. All right. Okay, so not bad, but could be bigger, fuller, better. Let's just pull this up. So let's start with the snare, everybody's favorite. Not bad for a digital snare, right? So what I've got going on here, we'll pop this on. Okay, so a lot of high ends, some 4K. This is at 7K, and that's at 9 dB boost. We got a little bit of that 260 for warmth, and I guess I doubled that up. There's no rules here. Some compression, and then I'm just trimming that out. This is actually not even doing anything. Really, a lot of it is that EQ. Here's the compressor. Okay, I'm back up. Okay, so that's better for the snare. Next thing I do is I want to send it to our room. So I've got this room sound pulled up. Again, and on this, I've got a lot of high end, or actually 1.5. Really boosted in there because I want that top part of that, that upper mid of the snare going into the chamber. So you've got this a little bit of a pre-delay and a kind of a quick delay, 777 milliseconds. And that's sent this guy. Again, something you would probably be doing with your live mixer. You'd be sending it out to some sort of slap room. So there's the snare sound. Boom, we're done. Kick, not a lot going on there. So kick off the mixer. I think so top end and low end boost. That's what it is. This guy's just a lift. Slate has a really nice lift on high end and low end. It's not harsh. So, and you can select these, silky, present. I mean, that's all a matter of taste. Okay, so that's that. The hi-hat, nothing. Just straight up into that reverb. Maybe a little much. I don't know. Again, you got to hear it in the mix. Here are the toms. The toms are where it gets, where is he playing the toms? This is where it gets funky. You can really get, okay, so not bad, but what I like to do with the toms, again, it's the high end and it's that low end. Check this out, 80 hertz, and we're putting that, doesn't even really exist in half the toms, but watch what happens. And then here's our lift again, just a little bit, just a taste, and we're scooping out all of that 500, all of that mid-range. So watch this. So here it is with it out. Natural tom. Now let's pop these guys in. Oh yeah. Notice how you all of a sudden, instead of hearing the flap, 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 you start hearing the tone of the tom. Because you got rid of all that 500, which was just covering up the tone, the ring of the tom. So check that out. And again, that is feeding into the room. So here it is dry. Still sounds great. Into the room. Again, sounds a little overkill right now, but in the mix, it kind of works. Especially for live again. Let's kill the room here. So here's the drum mix out. I think this is just like the top end of the drums. And the reverb coming off the TD50. So I didn't do much to these. I think it's compression, a little EQ, and these are the same across both of these, left and right. Feeding into the verb, because why not just a little more verb? It also pulls things together into the same space. So there is this mix. All right. Without the room. Not bad, nice tight sound. But again, live recording. We're making it live. Let's see. And my final trick is the drum crusher. So let's take a listen to what this guy is doing. We'll pop this in. So this is Slate's kind of compression gritty thing that I'm not sure how it works, but it makes things sound smashed. So this is a lot of compression, just over compressing the drums. You could grab any compressor you want. You just want to crush it, and you want to get some of this tick and this high end and the low end in there again. Listen to that. So this thing's doing a lot of warmth, but most of it's coming out of your VCA compressor here. This is at a 4-to-1 ratio. Medium attack, kind of quick release, and just digging in. You can see, I mean, we're hitting, 10 dB of reduction every time, sometimes dipping into 20. So that's digging in. So you say, well, what does that do? Well, watch this. So here's your mix, and I'm going to roll this in underneath it. Doesn't take much. Okay, so that's super compressed drum track in parallel, and those that feed in just makes those drums punch even more. And we actually do this live. I have a bus live that goes to a compressor, and then I do exactly this thing on the live mixer. But these are things you have to sort of recreate. All right, so that's a pretty rockin' drum sound. So we can mute these guys. Mute the room too. Bass. Let's take a look at this guy. There's Jamie's bass. Not good. I mean, that's great for a live track. That's fine. But again, we want to make it bigger and liver. So I started with the SSL. Okay. Get some of that upper mid-range, a lot of the, a lot of upper mid-range. Looks like we're digging in there, and a lot of this low end at 60. This is the real trick. Chris Lord Alge makes or Lord Alge, whatever, makes a set of plugins for various things, and his bass plugin is nuts. So check this out. Yeah, all right. There's a lot going on under the hood. The main thing is the chorus. He's got lower and bark, push is the compression. I'm not using any of this, but that chorus just makes it sit in the mix. Great. Then I've got the Renaissance bass from Waves, which if people are listening earbuds makes it a lot more audible. And then the FET compressor. This is Logic's own. Just to add a little more level control, especially on bass. You want to control the level on the bass all the time. So there you go. There you have it. There's your bass sound. Pull that in with the drums. With the room. right, let's move on to the guitar. Some interesting, let's take the room out. Interesting things with the guitar here. I'm actually using 2 different amps, so you can hear this is, I'll put it in mono. This is 1 amp. There's the other amp. I forget what it is. One of them's like the Gibson cheap amp, and one's a Mesa Boogie at Bogner Cab, whatever it is I set up on the Pod HC. So it's pretty good in stereo. They blend well. Thing on electric guitar that I like to do is boost quite a bit above 11K to give it that air. Again, there's a lift. Here's a little bit of compression on there, digging in, 4-to-1 ratio. I guess on this tune, I don't usually do this, but on this tune, I boosted 4K a little bit, and a little bit of warmth at the bottom. You got to be careful not to boost everything, even though that seems like what I'm doing. Again, no rules. Low end there, low lift. Okay. Let's pop these in. You'd almost say like too bright, but when it comes into the mix, you'll see what I'm talking about. And this guy is the again the Slate tape machine, so it just gives it a little tape grit. Watch as we pull this in. Sounds ripping to me. And it might sound bright to you, but don't be afraid of those high-end notes, because that's what's going to pop. Okay, cool. Vocals. I start on the vocal mix with a little compression. Here I'm using the R compressor.
Like a wicked cabinet, chalk white and oh so frail. I see our time is gotten stale.
Okay, so that is everything. There's no effects going on there. The plate and slap that I've added here are muted. There's no extra effects. This is coming off exactly what it sounds like, coming off the TC Helicon.
Like a wicked cabinet, chalk white and oh so frail. I see
it's not bad in live. I mean, that's great. That plays well live because you don't want it super bright at high volume. But again, we're listening at low volume. So let's add a little extra compression there.
Like a wicked cabinet, chalk white and oh so frail. I see our time is gotten stale.
Okay, that's smoothing out the bumps for me. I like that. And here we have our vocal left and right. Again, it's the same channel. Here they are. It's just the left and right, so you have the stereo effects from the TC Helicon. This is how I record it. I mean, you could record one of these.
Like a wicked cabinet, chalk white and oh so frail. I see our time is gotten stale.
You hear the harmonizer coming in there.
Painful, all seen logical. I want to tear it off the wall.
Yeah, and harmonizer. And so let's see what we got going on here. We got some high end on the 10K, 2K, big boost there. A little bit of 100 for some warmth, but I'm rolling off everything under 195, which is aggressive. Again, a little top end lift and a low end boost. You know, highs and lows, highs and lows, highs and lows. Let's pop that in on both of these.
Like a wicked cabinet, chalk white and oh so frail. I see our time is gotten stale.
Okay, so that's really bright. I think I tamed some of that down with the in and out of the tape machine. Let's pull the tape in.
Like a wicked cabinet, chalk white and oh so frail. I see our time is gotten stale.
Okay, so there's that. On do we have any Jamie vocals? No, we don't.
Like a wicked cabinet.
So on backing vocals, what I'll usually do is roll off a lot of the lows because we don't want any of that, and not aggressive. Oh, that's very aggressive. High boost. This is Jamie, and again another EQ right there. So yeah, I made that super aggressive. Anyway, not used in this track, so we can go over backing vocals somewhere else.
Like a wicked cabinet, chalk white and oh so frail. I see our time has gotten stale. Tick-tock of clock is painful, all seen logical.
Okay, so the last little track, the vocals are super, they're a little dry. The drums are a little bit wetter. So what I added
like a wicked cabinet, chalk white and oh so frail.
was a little bit of slap,
Like a wicked cabinet, chalk white.
which is this tape delay at 166. Seems to be the magic number, and it's just doing this.
Like a wicked.
That's it.
Like a wicked cabinet, chalk white and oh so frail.
Gives it that little bit of space. You don't need much, and when it's there, it's great. And then a little bit of a plate.
Like a wicked cabinet, chalk white and.
Okay, and again on the plate, we're looking for a big pre-delay, 150, and decay 1.9.
Like a.
You want the vocal to speak, and then the reverb to just add that depth around it. So let's bring those into the mix here. Here it is without the plate and the slap.
Like a wicked cabinet, chalk white and oh so frail. I see our time has gotten stale.
Okay, it sounds cool. It sounds like the singers record separately though. So let's bring the plate and slap in.
Like a wicked cabinet, chalk white and oh so frail. I see our time has gotten stale.
Yeah, it makes it feel like it's cohesive now to me. And you can see, this is the plate. It's just a little bit. I mean, we're just touching these things. I mean, if you set the things up correctly, they go the right way. Oh, and it looks like I put the guitar into the drum room a little bit in here. Yeah. Just that little bit.
Tick-tock of clock is painful, all seem logical. I want to tear it off the wall. Hear words and bits of phrases, things stick like ginger ale. My stomach turns and I exhale. I was on my pride, I was kicking the ride, looking like the rock when we up the inside. Swallow my doubt, turn it inside, I find nothing but one more tear, heart in the blender, must be around you, a beautiful baby eyes, rendezvous when I do. So callous.
Okay, normally I would just pull these back so we're not clipping anywhere here. But again, I've got the Slate digital FGX on the master, so it's never going to peak over 0, which is very important. But that's it. That's my style of mixing. So we took our tracks. You can take whatever tracks you have, apply similar things, and I'd say whatever workstation you're using, whatever plugins you have, the main thing is highs, lows, compression, and then adding that bit of I've got a room plate and a slap here on various things, just to make it cohesive, make it sound live. So that's my live recording technique. Good luck. Questions, hit me up. I love talking about this stuff.